All right, so first off, I want to say all praise to Yahweh, in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. A double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also, I want to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Okay, Lord willing, I am of that number. So this video, we're going to go back into the MotB. All right, we're going to visit this and see if any news has popped up today, all right, related to what we truly believe the MotB is, or the mark of the beast that is spoken of in Revelation 13, verses 16 and 17. We've touched on this before many times on this channel. On other channels, this is also touched on, but still, people are going to be deceived by the ones who run this world, which is Esau, Edom, okay, the self-called and so-called white man. All right, why? Or does that mean that everyone that is white is an Edomite? No. All right. In Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, starting at the 15th verse, it lists the consequences of disobedience for Israel. And among those consequences were that we would be scattered among all nations of the earth, all right, and worshiping and walking in their ways, there being the other nations, okay? So being that we were scattered, all right, we can look like, or we do look like, all peoples of the earth, okay? This is what is important about patriarchal lineage, because you are what your father is, all right? Going back along your father's line, all right? Your father, his father, his father, all the way back to where records stop at a certain point. So then the spirit, all right, bears witness to whom you are, all right? Um, also, Israelites or other nations can look like Israelites, all right? We tell you that the bulk of the Israelites are amongst the Negroes, the so-called Negroes, the so-called Mexicans, the so-called Native Americans, all right? But that does not mean that other nations can't be mistaken for those nations also, okay? So you have to understand what is being said to you here. Now, what does point to whom are Israelites, whom are Edomites, are prophecies in the Bible, or scriptures in the Bible, all right? The history that is in the Bible. Okay, this points to who these nations are, right? And there you'll find no nation called black, no nation called white in the scriptures, all right? So you have to pay attention to what's being told to you in the scriptures, all right? Upon the Lord's return, he's going to take out Esau, Edom, who is in power, who is running the world, all right? And who is that? All right, if you are honest with yourself, you will be able to say that it is the so-called white man that runs the entire earth. All right, he is the wicked. Okay, he is the ones. He is the one who comes to do the workings of the Satan and devil. Okay, uh, and this is what the scriptures tell you. All right, this is what you. This is what is important about getting to know, actually know what is in these scriptures in truth and sincerity, not just going by what someone tells you, but going to go research these truths. All right. So in uh, Revelation chapter 13, all right, verses 16 to 17, we find this prophecy, all right, that speaks of a technology that already exists and it is already in the world. But within this prophecy, you will find out that it has not been made mandatory, all right, yet, which is why we say this prophecy has yet to come to pass, all right? Although this information or this technology is in the earth, there's something else that this prophecy says about this technology that is the difference between this thing coming to fruition and or this thing coming to pass and not coming to pass. So let's read this really quickly. All right. Revelation 13, verse 16 reads, "And he causeth all." All right. The he is Esau, Edom. Okay. Specifically, the top banking families. All right. The causeth. This is what we're speaking about when we mean being. This thing is going to be made mandatory. All right. And we're going to take a look at um, this today. Okay. So, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So, unless you get this MOTB, or mark of the beast, which we tell you again that it is the RFID CHIP, all right, you won't be able to participate in society in the way that you know it. So you need to buy or sell in order to acquire a roof over your head, all right, food on your table, and clothes on your back, things that are essential for life, all right. And the system has been built up enough to where if you disobey, disagree, or walk contrary to these people, all right, they can shut you out, all right. And when this thing is made mandatory, they'll definitely be able to shut you out, all right. So let's go to Google and ask a couple of questions. All right, I'll keep that Bible up just in case we have to refer back to it. Most of this video is going to be reading the replies that I received back from uh, this question. Okay, so what I asked was, what advancements in BCI, or brain computer interface, or RFID CHIP technology were made today among Walletmore, which is one example that we give of the hand technology. All right. Neuralink, which is another example that we give for the MOTB in the head. All right. Synchron is a competitor of these technologies. Okay. So, what advancements in BCI or RFID CHIP technology? We have to talk in code. All right. CHIP, the letter C and the word hip combined. All right. So, what advancements in BCI or RFID technology were made today among Walletmore, Neuralink, Synchron, and other competitors in the same field? All right, let's go ahead and read these replies. This is what most of this video is gonna be. Okay, so it reads, to today's landscape for brain-computer interfaces and RFID technology. Hold on a second. Highlights a shift from research to large-scale human implementation and commercialization. All right, so it went from a research phase to now it's being upscaled. Okay, so brain-computer interface, or BCI advancements. It says the Neuralink. All right, the company is moving toward mass producing its CHIPs by 2026, with plans to automate surgeries, to scale deployment beyond research trials. Currently, over 12 people globally have received the implant, recording more than 15,000 hours of cumulative use. Cumulative use. Its primary device, telepathy, enables paralyzed patients to control sensors and games, while its next product, Blind Sight, aims to restore vision. Now, before I go on here, all right, keep in mind, all right, just listen, okay? Take note of this technology. Go and look at this technology. Also, keep in mind that these people are going to use a bunch of methods to coerce, all right, most of the people, all right, to take this thing. And a lot of people are going to take it, all right, because most of the people of the world do not consider Yahweh, who is the Almighty, all right, the Most High Power, and His Son, Yahweh Shai, all right. Most people do not consider Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. They don't even know Yahweh and Yahweh Shai's names, all right. They call him God or Jesus, okay, or Yeshua, Yehoshua, things like this, okay, Ahia, all right, things like that, all right. So in some way, people who call upon them names are showing you their level of deception that they have fallen for, all right. But um, in order to push this, they are going to use a lot of lanes of coercion, all right. Some being convenience, some being peace, some being safety, some being all three. Okay. And then they're going to come with the threat that we read there in 17. All right. That you're not going to be able to participate in society unless you receive this mark. Also, which, if you go to the Greek word for mark, it is charagma. All right. And what it lists down there in the definition is a badge of servitude. All right. So if you don't take their badge of servitude, showing that you do indeed serve man rather than Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai, all right, that's going to be a problem. Okay. All right. So keep all those things in mind while we read this. Okay. So as far as Synchron, it says as a primary competitor, Synchron has successfully demonstrated its BCI with 10 human patients. It recently integrated generative AI, which is powered by OpenAI, to allow users with ALS to generate text and audio prompts based on emotional context. Unlike Neuralink, Synchron's device is implanted via the jugular vein, avoiding invasive brain surgery. Now, a lot of people will point to it being in the jugular or it being in their left hand or their knee, all right, to justify them getting around, all right, not taking it in the right hand on the forehead. It does not work. All right. Do not receive this thing. Okay. The forehead can be anywhere in between the eyes and the head, man. It's going to be in the brain. All right. It's going to be in the brain. The one in the hand, all right, your hand can actually mean from your fingertip up to your shoulder. And it doesn't have to be a right hand. They use the example. If you go to that word, it goes back to your power hand. All right. Okay. So don't get it anywhere in your body. You ain't supposed to be cutting on your body anyway, let alone inserting something that is a badge of servitude to man rather than to Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai. All right, so do not take this. All right, that's as simple and plain as we can tell you. Do not take this. All right, you need to obey the Lord rather than men. All right, and don't just pay attention to this prophecy. All right, pay attention to all the Lord's statutes and commandments, man. All right, no, we cannot be perfect in them. All right, but they show they fill your faith. All right, they make faith, the works that go along with faith. All right, applying your life, applying the commandments, the statutes to your life. Okay, do them to the best of your ability instead of following the world and doing worldly things to the best of your ability. All right, we'll tell you something that the Lord says, and you'll fight it. All right, for the most part, the world will fight that, and they'll do their best to go against the scriptures. All right, but in the day of the Lord, all right, I don't know. I don't know what their mindsets are going to be. I don't even want to try to get in that mind state. Okay, do not take this thing no matter what. So paradromics, all right, which I haven't even heard of this one. I got this pen this time. All right, I do want to write these names down to these competitors so we can look them up and see what what advancements they've been making, okay, in this technology, okay. So we got wallet more, and actually I do need to, let me write it on the page by itself, and you can look this up too. All right, I will write this down too, okay. So first we got wallet more, and this isn't in any particular order. And then we got Neuralink. Okay. Then we got Synchron. And now here, there's something called Paradromics. So we're going to look that up. All right, let's see what it says about Paradromics. It says this dark horse competitor has reported industry-leading data transfer rates exceeding 200 bits per second, a massive pipeline intended to help ALS and stroke patients regain speech. And right now they're competitors. They might always stay competitors, but then they might form one new world BCI. I don't know. You know, that's why it's really not. It's useful to take note of these names and the people surrounding it, but really, it's the technology. Okay, you need to go look at the technology because these names could change. They could go away. Some new ones might replace them, but it's the technology that you need to be um, looking at. Okay, focusing on. So again, it says Paradromics. This dark horse competitor has reported industry-leading data transfer rates exceeding 200 bits per second, a massive pipeline intended to help ALS stroke patients regain speech. Now, I don't know too much about this technology jargon, okay, but whatever this is saying, okay, it's going to help uh, along with other methods of getting people caught up in taking this, okay. People who want to be on the cutting edge of technology, they might read this 200 bits per second and think, damn, I got to get that. All right. When they double it, I'm going to get it. Or when they 10x it, I'm going to get it. Okay. People in the technology field might be looking to hear that in order to determine when they're going to get it. All right. They won't even consider the Lord. They'll consider how fast, how many bits per second is it. All right. So this is for you uh, tech junkies out there too. All right. So precision neuroscience is another one. Let me write that down now. All right. Oh, and there's another. Okay, precision neuroscience. It says founded by a former Neuralink executive. All right, it's starting to branch out. All right. This firm has partnered with Medtronic. One word, I just pronounced it like it was two, but Medtronic to integrate its thin Scotch tape like electrode array with Medtronic's surgical navigation system for more precise, less invasive implantation. Okay, so let's write down precision neuroscience. All right, I just did. So there's another one called Black Rock Neurotech. And that name might sound familiar. All right, Black Rock Neurotech. It says known for high density neural recording, they remain a key player alongside newer firms in a BCI market projected to reach 6.52 billion by 2030. So you tell me that the world is not going in this direction. All right. they'll try to play it off. Even this AI, sometimes when you ask it questions, they'll try to play it off like this information that they're pulling up doesn't even exist. Okay. So now, another section that says RFID and payment implant technology. As far as Walletmore, it says continues to market its NFC or near field communication payment implant, which is roughly the size of a grain of rice and allows users to make contactless payments globally. Expansion. Okay, it says while still primarily available in the UK, Switzerland, and the EU, the company views on the CHIP as an aggregator of information with future goals of securely storing medical records and digital IDs that can be selectively shared via smartphone readers. Okay, so you can look up those countries as far as this technology is concerned too. All right, see what their populations are doing, and know that the Lord told us that this was going to happen. All right, Revelation 13 verses 16 and 17. As a matter of fact, in these scriptures, it lets you know that this thing is going to be made mandatory. All right, you're going to have to make a decision sooner or later. Most of the world is not paying attention to the prophets now. All right, a lot of them, I think they noted this to be true, but since they hate the prophets, some of them for the fact of how they look, all right, they don't want to listen to the truth. There's no way it can be true. All right, because everything else that we say is false. And I'm saying this is what the world thinks. Sooner or later, everything that we say is true is going to be known to be a fact upon these things happening. All right. The Lord said that then it shall be known that a prophet was among them. So let me find that scripture. All right, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 2. All right, let me read Ezekiel chapter 2, 1 through 5, with the point being in 5. The heading of this chapter reads, The Prophet's Call. It says, And he said unto me, Son of man, stand upon thy feet, and I will speak unto thee. And the Spirit entered into me when he spake unto me, and set me upon my feet, that I heard him that spake unto me. And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel. Again, pointing to Israel. We stress that a lot. All right, we actually stress it all the time, that these things are only for Israel. Yes, the rest of the world is being put on notice, but these things are for the Israelites, man. The children of the Lord, man. The sons of God, all right? The sons of Yahweh, Baal Shem Yahweh Shai, okay? So Ezekiel 2 and 3. Again, all right? And he said unto me, Son of man, I send thee to the children of Israel, to a rebellious nation that hath rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me, even unto this very day. All right. And that's going to be your shame. All right. Going against, walking against, not wanting to hear the words of the Lord. All right. Ezekiel 2 and 4, For they are impudent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, Thus saith the Lord power. Now, we're telling you about this MOTB. This is what the Lord put the Spirit on us to tell you. And you are not listening. Let me get this definition for impudent. For the most part, Israel isn't listening. If you are listening, all right, that comment wasn't for you. All right, but we've all came out of worldly ways. All right, most Israel are gonna stay in those worldly ways. Okay, I want to get a definition for impudent. Okay, impudent, not showing due respect for another person. Okay, you're not showing due respect for who? Yahweh, Baal Shem Yahushai. All right, that is what is important. Because if you're not showing respect to them, you definitely aren't going to show respect to their men. Okay, to the ones that have the message that will save your life. Okay, you're not going to listen. So, verse 4 of Ezekiel chapter 2, for they are impudent children and stiff-hearted. I do send thee unto them, and thou shalt say unto them, thus saith the Lord power. Let me get that definition for stiff-hearted really quickly here. All right, define stiff-hearted. Let's see. To be stiff-hearted means to be exceptionally obstinate, stubborn, or contumacious, which means rebellious against authority. It says the term is most commonly used in a biblical or theological context to describe a person who is spiritually resistant and refuses to listen to divine guidance or change their ways. Key characteristics of a stiff-hearted person, if you don't know if you are stiff-hearted or not: stubbornness, rebellion, inflexibility. And that's not pertaining to, I mean, it is pertaining to us, but above all things, it is pertaining to Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. All right, that's what you have to keep your mind on. When you come against the men of the Lord, who are you actually coming against? All right, Yahweh Baal Shem Yahweh Shai. So verse 5 now of Ezekiel chapter 2, and they, all right, Israelites, you stubborn Israelites out there, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there hath been a prophet among them. When all these things start to come to pass, which a lot of things already came to pass and things are yet to come to pass, all right, you're going to know. Maybe. I don't know what the Lord's going to do. Well, actually, I do. It says that they shall know that a prophet is going to be. So there is going to come a time where you're going to be like, damn, I fucked up. You know what I mean? Okay. So let me read these couple of verses past that. All right. Ezekiel 2, 6 and 7. It reads, and thou, son of man, be not afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words, though briars and thorns be with thee, and thou dost dwell among scorpions. Be not afraid of their words, nor dismayed at their looks, though they be a rebellious house. And thou shalt speak my words unto them, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. And hey, the time of too late is coming, and a lot of you Israelites are going to try to show up fashionably late, because that's just in the culture, all right? In the black culture. It doesn't work like that with the Lord, man. You want to seek the Lord early, all right? You want to seek him now. You don't want to put that off, okay? So let's go back here now. All right, so let's get to this next question here. Let me check the time really quick. Actually, I'm going to cut the video here. All right. So far, I hope this came through as sincere and edifying. Lord willing, we'll continue right on the heels of this video. Okay. So just look for the video with the same title, and you'll be picking right up where we left off from. So with that, all right, I want to say all praise to Yahweh in the name of his son, Yahweh Shai, in the name of the Holy Spirit. All right, double honors to my elders, apostles, and the bishops of Great Millstone, otherwise known as GMS for short, but also known as the prophets of doom. These are where I have learned this truth and where I am still learning this truth. And also, I want to say shalom to the remnant and the elect of Israel. Lord willing, I am of that number, and Lord willing, we'll see you in the next video. Shalom.